Introducing the new Verizon Business Unlimited plans. For as low as $30 per line with AutoPay, get 5G nationwide, plus massive data capacity, plus spam blocking features. Plus, mix and match the right plans for your business. Get more of what you need, none of what you don't. From Verizon, the network businesses rely on. 5G nationwide available in 1,800 plus cities on most VZ 5G devices. Monthly per line pricing with 5 plus lines on Biz Unlimited Start, device payment, smartphone purchase. AutoPay and paper-free billing required. Terms apply.
Empire.
The stage is set, and we've got some questions about the future of Aaron Rodgers. What's up, everybody? It's Mike Jones. Thanks for coming back for another episode of the Football Jones podcast. You can read me at usatoday.com, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @ByMikeJones. And here we are, just under 2 weeks away from Super Bowl 55. I've got to be honest with you, I didn't know if we were going to get here. Not on schedule anyway, but it looks like it's going to happen. As I said, the stage is set. We know it's Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what a matchup. This is going to be a really good game. Second meeting of the season for them, and at the same site where they met the last time. So we're going to break it all down. I'm joined today by Kimberley Martin of ESPN, ESPN.com, and her new podcast, First Take, Her Take. And we were both up there in Green Bay covering the NFC Championship game, so we're going to break it all down. What we can expect from the Super Bowl, what it means for Brady, for Mahomes, and then talk about Aaron Rodgers because, man, just a heartbreaking loss for him. And then he opened the door to some great uncertainty. And so we're going to get to it all right now.
Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get you today?
Hi, she'll have the quarter pounder with cheese, extra mustard.
No pickles.
And I'll have a 10-piece chicken McNuggets.
And 2 sides of ranch, please.
The we've done this before meal. Get it at McDonald's when you get 2 of your faves for just $5.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Single item at regular price.
And here we are with Kimberley Martin from ESPN. We just finished covering the NFC Championship game. Other than cold, how are you, Kimberley?
Cold, tired, but excited. Because as much as it was awful seeing Aaron Rodgers lose just based off of the season he had, we're going to get a really cool matchup in the Super Bowl with Mahomes versus Brady.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I really thought we were going to see Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes going at it. Part of me wanted to pick the Bucs, but I just didn't quite think it. But I was like, they're at home. Aaron Rodgers playing so, at such a high level, they're going to get it done. But man, wasn't meant to be. What was the most surprising aspect out of this game for you?
It should be the most surprising aspect for everybody. Matt LaFleur's decision to kick a field goal, 4th and 8. I mean, they had multiple tries at the end zone. And you got Aaron Rodgers. And we're still kicking a field goal. I think everybody was just sort of stunned. Because when you have somebody like Aaron Rodgers, he's not the GOAT, but he's one of the greatest. And to kick a field goal and to take the ball out of his hands, I think that was the most surprising thing. And I think it definitely surprised Aaron Rodgers. And they're going to have a very long offseason to think about that very play again.
Yeah, didn't he say something about, if I had known we were going to kick it, maybe I would have taken more shots to the end zone or something like that. It was a little bit of a veiled, kind of a...
Yeah, and he said, he was asked, what did you think about it? He's like, I didn't know about it. It wasn't my call to make. It's what we went with. And he harped on, we had other chances to make plays, which is very well true. You mentioned that field goal, the DPI call, obviously the Packers are upset about the missed opportunities and they're upset about that pass interference call on Kevin King. But against Tom Brady, against this kind of Bucs defense, you got guys flying at you. You got to play to win, you know? And they're already down, 8? They needed the touchdown. They needed the 2-point conversion. So the field goal just completely stunned a lot of people for good reason.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know they'd gotten 3 takeaways, but those were not like, they were tipped balls off the hands of receivers. It wasn't like they were doing a whole lot to dismantle that offense. So I know you got confidence in your defense, but, man, you're right there. You got, like you said, Aaron Rodgers, you got to take a shot. And I know that Matt LaFleur is probably going to be sick about that one,
Yeah, especially when you heard Aaron Rodgers post-game. I mean, this is a guy, and I covered the Packers this week leading into the game, and this is a guy who sounded very nostalgic, very reflective, very zen, grateful, appreciative of getting to this point with this team. Think about how we criticize this team, this front office. Like, they didn't get him any weapons. They got him a quarterback. What is that going to do for him? And he stuck with these guys. He believes in these young receivers. And with his help, with his tutelage, these guys came on as the season went on. And for Aaron Rodgers to kind of go out this season like that, what you heard post-game was a guy who wasn't committal about next year we will be in the same spot. Next year, he talked about the uncertainty. When it comes to this roster, who won't be here. And he said, even my uncertain future. And that's when ears perked up. Like, where does Aaron Rodgers think he's going? Matt LaFleur certainly thinks Aaron Rodgers will be here next year. He even said, hell, he's our leader. He better be here. But all off season, there's a lot of QB chatter around the league. A lot of experienced veterans wanting to go different places. And Aaron Rodgers, you don't know if it was just, I think he'll be back in Green Bay, right? I do. But what we heard was a guy who was just emotionally gutted. He used the word gutted to describe how he felt. So we don't know if it's just in the heat of the moment. He's just thinking, and depressed and thinking, I can't believe the finality of it is so abrupt. And then, when the sting wears off eventually, which it will he just return to the Aaron Rodgers and think, all right, 2021 regular season, let's get it? Or is this...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he poured so much into this season. He had that huge chip on his shoulder when they drafted Jordan Love. He played at a high level, MVP level, and he just
he's the MVP.
No, he is the MVP.
He is the MVP. So yes.
Right. And you just wonder, okay, so is he like, man, I gave it my all. We were again in the NFC Championship game. He played well in the NFC Championship game last year, but he couldn't help that his defense gave up 500-something yards to the 49ers. Is he going to be like, you know what? Y'all got Jordan Love? Forget it. Get me out of here.
So are we going to... I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, because I definitely do think Rodgers will be in Green Bay. But if you're Rodgers and you have... How many more years do you think he has? 2?
I mean, he could.
3?
His
4?
play hasn't dropped off.
No.
He could be playing until he's 44 if he wanted to.
Right. Just get some avocado ice cream and stuff.
But I don't think that he has that type of... I talked to him for early in the season, in December. He doesn't really watch football. He'll rather read a book instead of watching football on TV or something like that. I wonder, how much, his desire will burn for him to play until he's 43, like Tom Brady, who's obsessive over this,
There's some, but are we going to see, Brett Favre when it was, Vikings, Jets, Vikings, it just didn't sit right. It just didn't look right, didn't feel right.
But we got Brady at Tampa.
I know, which is so wild and so amazing. Not to take anything away from Aaron Rodgers' incredible individual season, but what Tom Brady has been able to do. And let me say this. Give Tom Brady all the kudos for being able to decide where to go and go to a completely new team, new conference, new teammates, new coaches. Early in the season, they looked disjointed, like they didn't have an identity. And for this team to make it to the Super Bowl is incredible. He did not play well today. And that defense, that Todd Bowles defense, is the reason they're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, he played well for a half.
Yes.
He played well for the half, and because
but when
he
you look
did
at that stat line, stat line, it was not impressive.
No, well, look at his first half was good. It was like 200-something yards, 3 touchdown passes. You're like, oh, wow, boom. And then the second half happened. You know, high pass off of Mike Evans' hands, you know, pass off other hands. And then, you know, so yeah, it wasn't great. But he looks around and he sees, man, the Bucs are everything that I always wanted. I've got a head coach who loves me and respects and values me. I've got an offensive coordinator who takes my input and they like treat me like another coach on the field. I've got offensive weapons, so I don't have to make these scrubs look like competent players.
Wow.
You know, and I have a defense that's going to clean up my messes. I think he's like, this is, you know, in his press conference, he didn't want to talk about himself. He kept on talking about, you know, a lot of people put a lot of time into this and everything. And you could just feel the appreciation that he had. I just feel like he's like, man, this is all I ever wanted right here.
Yeah, I mean, you know what he and Bill Belichick were able to accomplish in New England is beyond special. But, you know, change the scenery, sometimes we all need it. And, you know, Bill is clearly somebody, you know, who's headstrong, who likes to do things his way, who isn't going to be super effusive in praise a lot of times, although he's very complimentary of Cam Newton this season. But, you know, I think at 43 years old, if anybody deserved to say, hey, you know, this situation was great while it lasted, I just need to try something else. I want to do something else. I want to be somewhere else. It's Tom Brady, and he'll go down as the winner in the divorce as far as, you know, who lucked out in the separation of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Well, clearly, Tom Brady has proven that he wasn't just a system guy, that he can do it without Bill Belichick.
Yeah. And we saw him, like you said, there was that point of the season, they'd lost 3 of 4. He didn't look comfortable in this offense. They wanted to go downfield, and he was used to being the timing routes and things like that. But we saw him taking the shots deep. He feels comfortable in this now, and he's got the weapons to be able to go deep.
Right, he could, yes.
You know, unlike the past, where he had to settle for going to slot receiver and running backs out of the backfield, and sometimes Gronk. This just is an offense that gives him the ability to open up more. And I mean, that play at the end of the half, the 39-yard touchdown pass, was just, you know, that was pretty fantastic. And that's really something, the kind of guys, and that was his 3rd receiver. So their number 3 receiver is good enough for plays like that.
Yeah, Brady has made a living out of making his teammates better and making names out of who you can say are nameless people, right? And that's not to disparage them, but he really has made a career of turning regular guys into really good guys. Here with Tampa Bay, the same is true, but just the assortment of talent that he has.
Yeah.
You know, between Leonard Fournette and Rojo and Mike Evans and Godwin, I mean, he's got options, he's got choices, and he makes them better, no doubt. The way he prepares, the way he practices makes them all better. But from the jump, he was given a collection of talent. Yeah,
exactly. But we have to say, hats off to that defense, because when Brady was throwing interceptions left and right in the second half, the Bucs defense, Todd Bowles' unit, really was what ensured that they stayed in that game and were in position to win it.
It's funny, I talked to Todd Bowles on Friday, 48 hours before the game. So on Friday afternoon-ish, and I was talking to him about Aaron Rodgers. And he laughed because he's like, Aaron Rodgers honestly is one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch on Sundays. But not when I'm playing him, and hopefully I'm not watching him on Super Bowl Sunday. but he's like just this guy's vision, his accuracy. Like he even used the word moxie. Just, you know that he throws the back shoulder fade better than anybody. You know that, you know, if you bring pressure, like he's getting the ball out quickly. You know that he can guess what you're trying to do, and it's always a cat and mouse game. Not just with him, but with, you know, as a defensive coordinator, it's a cat and mouse game against the other coordinator, against the QB, that O-line. And Todd Bowles, hats off to him. His guys, they had a great game plan and they executed it. And they were able to adjust when need be. So it's a really, the Bucs are a really fascinating story. Not just the Tom Brady aspect, not just the Bruce Arians aspect, but this coaching staff that is like the model of diversity, NFL diversity, and what a lot of these teams, when you talk about the NFL being a copycat league, hopefully other teams will copycat this. Because from top to bottom, they have a lot of talented guys on the coaching staff. The fact that the Super Bowl is in Tampa, the Bucs have been practicing with Super Bowl banners, you know, and all that marquee signage, you know, not in the distance. Like, they could see it from the practice facility. So it's a very fascinating story. And, of course, obviously Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, and Bruce Arians said, man, I'm almost kind of scared to go home because we won 3 straight road playoff games. You know, now we're going to go home. Are we going to, you know, be okay? But I think they'll be just fine. It's going to be an intriguing matchup. What are you expecting? Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. It's like LeBron facing Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals, basically.
Yeah. It is a great matchup, and it's funny because I had to get up one day this week, and one of the questions we're asked is, what matchup would you want to see most? And I had actually said Josh Allen versus Tom Brady.
Why did you say that?
Because it felt like this Bills team. It felt like a very special team, and I get it. Like, to me, honestly, I was kind of, out of the 4 teams that were left, I felt like the Chiefs were the ones that bored me a little bit. And I don't mean that to be mean, but it's sort of like, okay, the Chiefs are like the great juggernaut. Like, nobody can beat the Chiefs. Like, between Aaron Rodgers having this incredible season and him seeming to be taking himself to some other, like, spiritual place and playing so well, Tom Brady and he's like Madonna on his reinvention tour. And then you got the upstart Bills, who this season felt like they had gotten over the hump of being the little brother. The team that's like, oh, cool, the Bills won a couple games, that's nice. Like, no, like, we are going to, like, knock your teeth in. And they almost did that to some Chiefs players tonight. But those 3 teams I thought had really compelling storylines. I think the Chiefs are a great story. Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback, and if he keeps this pace up, he'll be one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game. But it's just like, it's like when people get bored of the Patriots winning all the time. It's sort of like, okay, all right, the Chiefs are great. But this matchup, it is the greatest of all time versus the greatest player right now. You know what I mean? And I don't. Yep. I hope it doesn't sound like hyperbole, but it is a wonderful QB matchup from the standpoint of Brady has seen it all. You know, he's a technician out there, but Patrick Mahomes can do it all physically,
right,
athletically, like his arm, like and the Chiefs are just stacked. Like choose which way. How do you want to die? Right. Do you want, like? It's just like a slow death with a million paper cuts or something.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this time off, the 2 weeks, will impact Antonio Brown, because
he did not play today.
Right, and the Bucs are pretty stacked too. They got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Scotty Miller and Antonio Brown, plus Gronk, who, like, he didn't even have a target until the fourth quarter.
That's his MO. He lays low, he blocks, he does everything, and then when Tom Brady needs that safety valve, he goes to him.
Yeah, so this is a pretty loaded squad too. So these offenses, both of them are going to, and you got 2 really good defensive coordinators, in Spags and Bowles. So I don't know yet who I'm picking on this thing here, but I am loving that we're going to see, like you said, Tom Brady, obviously the GOAT, but Patrick Mahomes has his way of doing this. Like, he just puts some other English on this. So it's going to be a great Super Bowl matchup. We're going to talk about it a lot. But this was our focus, was just this game here and this weekend. So I appreciate your time. Do you know what you're talking about? You got a new podcast. You want to tell everybody about your podcast?
I was wondering, when are we going to talk about, I'm on your podcast. When are we going to talk about my podcast? So I try to be, cool like Mike. And I have a podcast with two amazing ladies. It's called First Take, Her Take. So it's kind of like a spinoff of Stephen A. and Max with First Take. Obviously, hugely popular ESPN show. But this is a little different.
Are you Stephen A. or are you Max?
Kimberley, Stephen A. I get that. But this, we don't, you're not going to hear me screaming at the top of my lungs.
Telling Janae that you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's myself, Janae Gumake, who you guys see on SportsCenter, and she's got her own radio show with Mike Golick Jr., and Charlie Arnold, who is fill-in host on First Take on TV as well. So the three of us give our perspective on the same sort of topics you would hear Max and Stephen A. debate on, but this is from our perspective. We're three women who come from, sports is our livelihood, but we all look at it from different aspects. Janae played in WNBA and at Stanford. Like me as the reporter, like we have different perspectives, but we all love sports, and it's basically grab some beer, grab a glass of wine, and just listen to three friends talk about sports. So
all right.
No different than what we're doing right now.
Okay. So when does it come out? What days can we look up for?
So we record Tuesdays, so it'll drop Tuesday night. It'll be available, but by Wednesday morning for sure. So.
Okay. Well, I am just honored that you had time for the little people and my podcast.
You are right.
So can you make sure, like, when you say, as I said on Tuesday on the Football Jones podcast, can you just give me a little,
I'll see if I can drop a little, give a little shout out.
There we go. Because, I'm just, trying to be like Kmart here. So, one day, maybe.
One day.
So people can find you on the First Take, Her Take.
First Take, Her Take podcast, which you can find when you download. We've got our own Spotify, Apple page, but it's also available on the regular First Take podcast page. I'm on Instagram. It's Kimberley Martin, Kimberley Martin. On Twitter, by Kimberley A. And you can find me a number of places. So if you take offense to anything I said about the Chiefs being the boring pick for the Super Bowl, you can at me in a bunch of different places. And
you'll send back some smart aleck GIF or something
GIF,
like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good deal. All right, Kimberley, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and good to see you. And have a safe trip.
Thank you. You too.
Microsoft Teams is helping a bicycle company reinvent the way that they work.
We make low-maintenance bicycles for everyday riders. Once the pandemic hit, we had nobody coming into the showroom, so we started doing virtual visits via Microsoft Teams.
We're able to see 2- or 3-fold the amount of customers we used to be able to see. All of a sudden, we could open up our showroom to customers around the world. I really think it's going to set a standard for retail moving forward.
Learn more at Microsoft.com/Teams.
Okay. Thanks for listening. It's going to be an interesting next couple weeks. I know they need that week of prep time. It's good for them, but I really hate that lull. I always get so excited when the stage is set for the Super Bowl, and I'm ready to just get right into it. It's also going to be different because for the first time, we're not going to be down there all week long. Normally, the players and the reporters get down there the Monday before the Super Bowl, and you're down there all week talking to the athletes, the coaches, every single day, getting all the stories. This year, it's all going to be on Zoom. So there's still going to be the stories, just not going to be quite the electricity, but we're going to make the best of it. And then I'll head on down there Friday, 2 days before the Super Bowl. That's the same day the players are going to arrive. And then on that Sunday, all the action will kick off. But we'll be talking to each other before then. Thanks so much for listening. Do me a favor. Share this with some friends. Tell them to go subscribe and download. Leave me a rating. And I'll talk to you guys again next time.